Welcome to the Landmark Baseball Podcast. My name is Josh. Over here is Neil. How you doing
Hi,
today, Neil?
I'm great. I'm excited we're finally doing this.
I am
So,
too. So we don't really know what this is going to be yet, but as of right now, this is the test episode. We're going to probably try to keep up on current events in baseball. It's the off season, so we'll talk about projections and predictions and things like that. But how you doing today, Neil?
I'm great. We got a lot to talk about. Some exciting news this week. I'm sure you guys have heard. Lindor is now a Met, and that'll definitely be one of the topics we cover today.
Nah, I think we'll just skim over that one.
Yeah, it's not that big, but
It just so happened that we started the podcast 4 days or 3 days after the Lindor trade. So we're not the first ones on this. We're not the
yeah.
first take you're going to hear about it. But all right, we can get into it. So let's start with the Lindor trade. Mets get Lindor and Carrasco from the Cleveland Indians. Indians receive shortstop Andres Jimenez, whatever. Ahmed Rosario, Josh Wolf, and Isaiah Green. Initial thoughts, Neil? What were your first reactions?
This is, just amazing that the Mets are able to do trades like this now. In the previous ownership, this is something that, never would have happened. Just this one season, they're paying Lindor 20 million, and then Carrasco, I want to say, is making 12 million, something like that. So they're paying these guys 32 million just for the year, and then I'm assuming they're going to extend Lindor long term. So it's great for the Mets. I'm sure Mets fans are happy, and they got, you could say, the best shortstop in the league right now. Lindor's as
Top
good as
three.
they get. You look at his defensive metrics. They're through the roof. His DRS is ridiculous. He's exactly what you want in a player. And Carrasco's he's severely underlooked in this. He's coming to that rotation, especially with the Syndergaard out for the year with Tommy John. He's gonna fit right in with DeGrom and what's his name, Stroman. And yeah, then it
Yeah,
moves Seth Lugo to the bullpen. I think it's a great trade for the Mets all around.
the Mets rotation just went from being like super sketchy to being like probably a top five rotation in baseball. I've
Definitely.
got some numbers here for you. Carrasco, he's 33 years old. Kind of thought he was older than that. Since 2014, his ERA plus has been 129 on average. Name a player that you think is like comparable to Carrasco without knowing that it's a 129 ERA plus.
Comparable to Carrasco.
The way he gets recognized and the amount of like talk he gets is probably
Right.
comparable to like a I don't know, like a Patrick Corbin type guy.
Yeah, honestly, like he does not get recognized that much. But he is really good. He is really good, especially everything he's been through also with leukemia and beating that. But yeah, he's
Yeah.
a really good player.
But where I'm going with this is do you know who else has had a career 129 ERA plus?
No, I'm not gonna guess.
Astros starting pitcher, Justin Verlander.
Really, really one of the best pitchers, of our
So in
lifetimes.
Carrasco's main meat of his career, he has been as good as one of the top pitchers of our generation.
Yeah, one of the best pitchers ever. You could say, yeah, Verlander's as good as they come. Yeah,
And he was number three in an Indians rotation
oh yeah,
behind
and
like
that Indians
Bieber
rotation
and
featured,
Kluber
yeah,
and
Kluber,
Clevenger and
Clevenger,
Bauer.
Bauer,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
that rotation, yeah. I think about it sometimes. I'm like, how did they not get it done? But
It's the same as the old Tigers rotation with
oh yeah, except
Price,
that one,
Porcello,
for
Verlander, Scherzer. Oh my
that
God.
one is even more egregious. So you could say that rotation. I definitely don't know how they didn't, but hey, it happens, I guess. But yeah,
So Lindor is 27 years old. He's on Hall of Fame pace. The Mets get him for 1 year. They'll have to extend him. I think they will. Kind of seems like a miss if they don't.
oh
And then
yeah,
the Indians return. Well, for the Mets, I originally thought like Lindor for all the guys that the Indians got was like probably pretty even. And then they threw in Carrasco, and I was like, Mets probably win this trade regardless of what those other guys turn into.
and
Then the
what a great thing for the Mets too is knowing that the Yankees were kind of interested in Lindor also, and they kind of, they've removed him off the table now. And honestly, he would have been a great fit for the Yankees. You look at the amount of injuries they have, and you get a guy in Lindor who's played 158 games, 159, 158, 143. Last season he played all 60. So you're getting,
Hmm.
elite defense every single day at, a premium defensive position like shortstop, not to mention, outstanding switch hitter. So I mean, yeah, it's a great, great move all around, I think. But yeah, definitely
I forget he's a switch hitter like all the time.
oh
I
yeah,
just
no,
always see him pimping homers from the left side.
yeah. Yeah, no, that one against the Yankees. Yeah, I think he hit that from yeah, that was a left side. Yeah, he totally pulled it. But yeah, that was a yeah, great, great play on his part. That was like kind of the first I ever saw of Lindor, because I was still getting into baseball then. But yeah, phenomenal player. Super happy for the Mets fans. And I mean, it just makes I mean, it just kind of is unfortunate, that the Indians were unable to pay their star player. It's not great for the
Sucks.
game. Yeah.
Sucks for baseball. Oh
I
my
mean, I feel
gosh.
bad for all the India. I mean, it's not even like it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. You knew he was going to get traded, not if. It was just like, yeah, when was it going to happen? And it finally happened. And I mean,
They've been
they
talking
didn't.
about it for 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, hey, Lindor, he came out, he competed, and he's going to be assuming a career Met now. I mean, the one thing I don't get is last year, when Mookie Betts was traded to the Dodgers, I heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, Dodgers are, not so smart. They got him for a year rental. Red Sox are going to re-sign him." And obviously the Indians don't have the payroll or the money to re-sign Lindor, but I don't really hear many people talking that same way now about Lindor, and I can kind of see why. Mets are definitely, I'm going to be shocked if they don't extend him long term. But I mean,
They'd
you
be
never
stupid
know.
not to.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You never know. I mean, next year is going to be a loaded shortstop free agent class. I'm pretty sure you have a, Story. I want to say
Story, Seager,
Correa. Yeah, Cedar.
Correa,
Yeah.
and that if Lindor doesn't get extended, he'd be in that. But that's the best free agent shortstop
Right.
class.
Yeah. Next year's gonna be
Oh,
crazy.
Baez, I think, is in there too.
Yeah, there's so many guys. It's hard to even keep
That's
track. We're just
insane.
naming some off the top of our head. But yeah, like Story, even yeah, Story's so underrated. I should go on a whole different thing about
Story
that
is
too.
probably if Seager's right, Seager's the best shortstop in my opinion. If Story is right, it's Story.
Yeah,
Did you
I
know
don't
he led the National League in stolen bases this year?
really. Yeah, no, he's
No
he's
one
really
no one knew he
fast.
could swipe bags.
Oh yeah, Story. Yeah, he doesn't get as much credit because I think Arenado gets it all. But I mean, yeah, he's
Hmm.
definitely great. But yeah,
So
Indians or
the
not the
Indians get
Indians.
back Andres Jimenez, Ahmed Rosario, Josh Wolf, and Isaiah Green. Jimenez is 22 years old. He came up in 2020. He was kind of fighting Rosario for second base. He
Mhm.
had a 102 OPS plus and 118 at bats. Not a huge sample size, but that's about what you expect from a second baseman. That's a little better than what you expect.
Right.
Rosario, he's 25 years old. He's former top prospects, kind of a letdown. He has a 2.3 career WAR across 4 seasons. Him and Lindor came up at similar times, and that's where Lindor is, and that's where Rosario is. Uh, Josh Wolf, 20-year-old right-handed pitcher. He's the number 12 prospect now in the Indian system. Don't really know much about him. He got picked, I think, in 2019. He was like a second round pick or something. Don't know anything about his stuff. Doesn't really matter. Isaiah Green, he's a outfielder, 19 years old, just got picked in the most recent draft, and he's now the Indians' number 16 prospect. They pretty much just bought lottery tickets and stocked up their infield again,
Right. The hard
even
part
though
for
they just
me
did it.
the hard part for me, or not for me, but the hard part I assume for Indians fans is all these guys, all these infielders they got, all these shortstop prospects they got, they hope they become a Lindor type, right? Which is essentially the guy you just lost, and it's just kind of like I'm assuming Indians fans are going through it right now because it's not
Indians are in
a
a dark place. They're changing their team name. They just shipped out their biggest superstar for the last 6 years, 5 years,
right.
whatever.
Yeah.
And now their payroll is less than Mike Trout's yearly salary.
I mean, which is what they wanted, I guess. I mean, they
It
still
just
have
sucks for
a
baseball. So bad.
right. I mean, I know, yeah. You look at teams like the Rays too. They couldn't pay Snell what 13 million a year for the next 3 years. They had to
They
ship.
could, but
They
I
could,
actually
but
I like defending the Rays with this because I think it's just smart baseball for a team like that. If the Rays are the only ones doing it, it's fine for the game. It's
Right.
cool to have that one team doing it, or now the Indians might be too. We don't know how their player development is, but I think it's pretty cool that we have one team that's doing that.
And at least the Rays, you could say they got a good haul back. Luis Patino, the centerpiece
I
around
like the
that.
return, yeah.
He's gonna be, front of the rotation guy. Upper 90s, 97 mile an hour fastball with lots of life. But the hard part too for me is, they were just in the World Series. They just, went to game six with the Dodgers, who are, completely stacked. One of the like the best team,
And
and
if they don't
they
take out Snell, they maybe win that game.
right, and then they lose the next year. They lose Charlie Morton and Blake Snell. It's kind of hard, Yeah, they still have Glasnow. They still have, they got a bunch of prospects. They still have a great, lineup, but it's just hard, It's just like when you go to the World Series, you come so close. You think your team would, bolster the rotation, bolster the bullpen, get what you need. I mean, not like the Rays needed to, bolster their bullpen, but like, yeah, instead you go out and you lose Charlie Morton, who you just really needed to give a 1 or 2 year deal to, and then Blake Snell. I mean, yeah, they could, like you said, it could have paid him, but yeah, they chose not to. But I
So
mean,
my defense for the Rays is that they have the number one farm system in baseball. Number one prospect, Wander Franco, will be up this year. Whether anyone likes it or not, he's going to be playing in Major League Baseball this year. I think it's smart that they got rid of the older guys whose contracts are starting to turn over, nearing the end of their primes. Maybe not nearing the end of their primes. Morton's out of his prime probably by now.
mhm.
Snell is, they don't
He's
want to pay that
still,
backloaded contract. He's still
yeah,
good, but that's money that they don't have to pay if they don't need to because they're not in World Series mode. Somehow that's believable to me.
mhm.
I don't know. But their prospects are going to help them out so much moving forward that I think it's smart that they tore down in order to re-up the farm system and save money for those guys if they want to extend them.
Right, right. Yeah, I think it'll definitely be interesting. I mean, who knows, the Rays, they might somehow still be better than they still might, win the AL East and I mean, you never know with teams like that. They always seem to surprise us. But
I got in an argument with some people on Twitter like last week. They were like mad that the Rays are doing it, and I was like, why would you be mad that they're like doing their best to win? Like this gives them the best chance of winning long term. And they just
right.
like didn't understand it, and I was like, oh, I can't help you. Yankees fans understand how low budget teams work. I'm an
Yeah.
Orioles fan, so I'm there. You know who has the second lowest payroll in baseball behind the Indians? The Orioles.
I'm a Padres fan, and I'm happy we're finally spending the money that you need to. Even you could say Machado and Hosmer, they were overpaid, but just in the direction of the franchise, what it shows, I mean, it shows teams that you're serious, you're trying to compete. And when you hear players like Hosseon Kim, if you guys don't know who that is, it's a Korean infielder that they just signed. He was saying the reason he chose the Padres is because he wanted to be a part of a winning team, a winning franchise. And during that interview, I was like shocked. I was like, I've never heard of like someone call the Padres be referred to as a winning team, a winning franchise. And I mean, yeah, it's because they've came out, they've developed the prospects well, and more importantly, they spent the money to show that they're willing to do what it takes. And I think it's great for them. But yeah, I don't know how I went on that tangent, but yeah, that was yeah.
You're just a happy Padres fan.
I'm just yeah, like I
The
said, I'm happy
the
they're spending the money. They're still in my opinion, not better than the Dodgers, but they are. They're doing what they can to get close. I mean, don't even get me started on the Dodgers though. They're just scary. They're just a scary team. You looked at what they have. You looked at their pitchers getting only
they're
better.
insane, man.
Yeah,
That's the
let's
best team of all time
yeah
right there. I will
yeah.
stand by that.
They're
I
just
think the Kim signing kind of went under the radar because the Snell trade happened one day, and then the very next day Darvish signed,
Darvish,
and I
right?
think, or I mean, Darvish got traded, and then I think Kim signed like around the same time as the Darvish trade.
Right.
$7 million. If he works out, he works out. I was telling Neil before this stream, kind of looked like they were just pitching him meatballs, and he was just crushing them. Might be padding the stats a little there, but
Right.
we'll see how he plays. If he's a bench player, that's a pretty expensive bench player.
I
They
think
have
he'll
no
get
bench
some
though. Padres are lacking
playing
a
time
bench.
though. I think yeah, hopefully it would I mean it would benefit a lot of teams for the universal DH, but them especially because then move, Ha-Seong Kim to second base, Cronenworth to DH, or Cronenworth might play
Cronenworth will go to the
first.
outfield. They'll probably throw
Yeah,
Pham at DH. Myers maybe.
yeah, maybe, yeah.
Don't know
That's
what they do
but
there.
they definitely benefit from a DH. But even not though, you never know on a 160 game season. Tatis had some injury issues his first year, and I mean, just giving guys rest. You don't wanna send them out every day. And I mean, he could give Machado some nights off at third. He could give Tatis some nights off at sec or at short. I mean, I think yeah, great signing for the Padres, even though
Yeah,
yeah, they didn't really need another
that'll be
infielder, but can't hurt, I
under the
guess.
radar signing, kind of like how the Cronenworth trade was.
For sure, for sure.
For the Darvish trade, we'll just be quick with it because it was kind of the
Yeah.
return was not very good, to say the least.
Cubs
Cubs
fans
give
were
up
not too
Darvish.
happy.
Darvish was like I think second in the MVP or Cy Young voting in 2020. His fastball velocity got way better. His location was better. He was walking less guys, and they gave him up because they're gonna start a rebuild because they're
Right.
losing all their guys next year, and all they got back was a bunch of like teenage infielders who are also lottery tickets. I think one of them was starting to look like a potential top 50 prospect, but
Right.
I mean, also not good for baseball. Teams
And
tearing down like this.
we talked about that a little bit on Instagram too, how it was interesting that the Padres acquired Victor Caratini also. And I said that was his everyday catcher, and then you checked the stats and confirmed that. But I didn't even realize that. I was just was watching you Darvish highlights, and I noticed every time behind the plate it was Caratini catching, and I was like, well, why would Caratini be catching every game for Darvish when you have Wilson Contreras? And then I was like, he must like really like pitching to Caratini, and that made the trade a lot better for me, because it's that pitcher catcher relationship, which is huge. And it's kind of like, who knows, maybe there would have been like a, I don't know, maybe it'd have been less appealing to me if I hadn't had known that. But I thought that was like a great, also under the radar thing. And Caratini, he's not the best catcher, but in terms of Padres, if you're a Padres fan,
Good
like the
backup
last,
catcher.
yeah, exactly, good backup catcher. And the Padres really have not been getting anything offensively out of their catchers the last couple of years. Now they
I
have
love
Nola, but
you guys
yeah,
traded for Nola. I
yeah.
love Austin Nola. He's brother of Aaron Nola. He started as a shortstop in college. I think he was like, man, I'm not very good at shortstop. I need to like try to catch or something like his team needed a catcher and he's like, I'm just gonna try it. And he was like great at it. And he hit very good. He's a very old rookie in 2019. I think he came up in 2019. He's like 27 years old, but I mean, played very good. And that's all you can really ask for.
Right.
Uh, Padres also moved Francisco Mejia to, I think he got in the Rays trade. He was in the Snell trade, former top prospect.
Right. He hasn't really panned out though,
No.
unfortunately. But yeah, he had some great potential, switch hitter. And I've heard some people saying, maybe you move him to the outfield and you just worry about his offense improving and just forget him catching, which maybe the Rays do. I mean, but yeah, it's just unfortunate that he didn't pan out. I still remember how excited I was when I think the Padres they traded Brad Hand to the Indians for Mejia, and
Uh huh.
that was like a big deal. And I was like, oh yeah, we got our catcher of the future. Mejia's gonna be great. And it didn't really pan out, but I mean, things like that happen. I'm just glad they're in a still in a good position. But
Well,
yeah,
Mejia still, he just turned 25, 75 days ago. His offense has not been good. OPS plus around he's here. He hasn't had a very big sample size yet. Hasn't played more than 79 games in a season. We got a 55 OPS plus, a 72, a 99. Average is 100. That's where you want to be.
right.
His offensive WAR is not that good. His D WAR, he's about league average, 0.
Yeah, his
So
best
I mean,
season was 2019. Yeah, like OPS plus, yeah, 99. You already said is league average is 100, so that's just below average. And then yeah, I mean batting average 265. I mean for a catcher, I guess not the
small sample
worst.
size.
Yeah, but
They got him through 2025 though in the Rays with the way they develop players. He's only 25 years old. I mean,
right.
I he's going to be fighting for Zunino's spot at catcher, which is not a very hard job to probably win. But we'll see what happens. I like Mejia over there. We could talk about the Sagano going back. We'll be quick with that. He was getting interest from MLB teams like the Angels, the Mets even looked into him. I think they were after the Darvish trade, they were like out on him, but a couple other teams were interested. Kind of has Tanaka type stuff, a lot of pitches and good location, but kind of throws some meatballs here and there. That's just a lot of Japanese pitchers before they come over. But he didn't get a good enough offer, and he went back to Japan. The biggest problem with this that I have is that the Angels didn't even come up really in rumors. The Angels weren't really that interested. And if you're the Angels and your best pitcher is Dylan Bundy, your second best pitcher is Andrew Haney or Griffin Canning. Like, do
Right.
you know who those are, Neil?
I mean, I do, but only because I used them in my MLB The Show playthrough last time, so I know I'm familiar with their roster. But yeah, no, Angels pitching. Yeah, if Otani isn't right, which he hasn't been, I don't think he's thrown anywhere close
he
to
he
like
threw
100.
like 2 starts in 2020. He got rocked in his second one. His first one wasn't very good either. And after coming off Tommy John surgery, that's a terrible sign for who was supposed to be their ace two-way player.
Right. Yeah, it's just Otani. You don't know what you're gonna get, and yeah, they
I mean,
desperately needed pitching.
their two pitchers normally probably like a 4 or 5 in the
Right.
rotation
Right. Most
on any other
teams.
team.
Yeah.
And if you're sitting there, you have Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, Albert Pujols in the twilight of his career, Shohei Otani, David Fletcher. Oh my God!
Yeah.
I mean, what are you doing,
Kind
front
of.
office? They just got a new GM, but I
Kind of
think
underwhelming.
they need to do
Not
something.
a
They need
great farm system. I mean, they did have what's his name, Joe
Joe
Adell.
Adell. He's
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah, it hasn't really panned out either. Surprisingly, even though they have two of the best hitters ever in Anthony Rendon and Mike Trout, their offense is still, not where it should be. I mean, but
Well, Joe Adell came up. He's I think he was a top 10 prospect before he came up. His peripherals were terrible. Like his stats were terrible, but you look at like how few balls he was hitting hard, how many misses he had in the zone, and it's really
oh
concerning
yeah,
for a guy who was supposed to be Trout's uh, guy out there with him.
he batted 161 in 2020 in 38
He's
games.
kind of an older rookie, isn't he?
He
Like
is
not older, but like getting old for like a top prospect, right?
yeah. Let's see his age.
He's almost 22. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, he's still
For some
young, but
reason, I was
yeah.
like, he's like 24, 25.
Negative
No,
1.3 WAR in 2020 though. That's not what you want to see. That's not what you want to
31
see.
OPS plus.
Yeah.
31.
And I mean, it's hard to judge players off the, 60 game season, 2020 especially, just being the year that it was.
If they
But
had AAA this year, he would have been
he
sent
would have been
down.
he would have been sent down, right?
They
Yeah.
just kept sending him out there every day, and he was just not receiving it very well.
Right, and
I
if you're
think
the
he'll probably.
Angels, though, I mean, they knew probably since the first day that they weren't going to be in contention. So, I mean, it probably wasn't the worst thing, but yeah, it's not.
They'll live.
They'll, yeah. I don't know though. For teams like that, it's hard. It's hard to like think of a path of how they get it done. Like, yeah, you can
Pitching. They got they got Raisel Iglesias from the
right,
Reds in a small trade. I think that's a pretty underrated signing or trade, whatever. But they need more. I mean,
but it's just
They finally have a closer. That's step one.
right. It's just hard though, because like you think about teams and they really can't. They have the financial flexibility, but they have so much money already committed. Trout and Rendon make what, like 65 million, 70 million just in those two players.
Just those
Not to
two.
mention Pujols, who his contract will be up soon. But
I
really,
think he's got 2 years.
the only team that I can think of in recent history that fully bought, spent money and got a whole pitching staff to do it all is the Red Sox. I mean, they signed Chris Sale to a massive deal, Price, Porcello, all massive contracts, and they ended up getting it done. But then again, they didn't have, Mookie Betts was not on a crazy deal. He was still in his,
His rookie
before.
deal.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, JD Martinez, yeah, they did spend a lot of money on. I mean, some other guys they did too, but I mean, they
They
definitely
got it
didn't
done at
have
the right
70
time
million in two
because
players.
right, they got it done at the right time because Bogarts was still on his like for 6 years,
Exactly.
I think.
Devers his
Devers was
time's gonna
still.
come soon. Yeah,
They got
Bats
Michael
too.
Chavis up. Well, no, that was after
They
2018.
got
But
great production out of
Steve Pierce,
Benintendi which
Benintendi was still good.
that could be our next segue into our next topic too. I mean, I don't know if you were ready to talk about that, but
No, that's fine. Yeah, we'll go into
yeah.
that. I wrote here before the Benintendi rumors, Angels are idiots. I think we covered
I mean,
it.
hey, they took Trout. They got the best player. You know, my Padres. I think I want to say they passed on him twice or something, but they definitely passed on him once.
The Angels passed on him once though. They had
Yeah, they
back-to-back
did. They did.
picks.
But they had who did they take? They took who's the outfielder on the Blue Jays?
Was it Grichuk? Is that
Yeah,
who
they
his
took
name?
Grichuk before. Yeah, I think so. Something like that. Let's check so we don't look bad. But yeah, but they had a back-to-back pick, so I guess it wasn't the most egregious thing. But yeah, they still.
Like it works, but the
Yeah,
disrespect, man, to the greatest of all time.
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, Benintendi Bryant rumors. I like. We knew the Bryant rumors were coming.
Right.
That's probably been about a year in the making. Cubs still finished first in the NL Central, but the NL Central is an absolute just shit show. It's terrible. You might win. You might win the division with 85 wins.
Right. You got
This
the
shit, it's gonna be bad.
Cardinals and the Cubs, who you really gotta beat out, and
That
then
that's it. The Reds are
yeah,
gonna be out. The Reds
right.
are out. Brewers are out. Pirates are definitely out.
Oh yeah, Pirates are yeah. Let's just not talk about them. I mean, hey,
So
you
something.
went to Pittsburgh though. I off topic, but yeah, I saw
Oh
your
man, PNC Park was awesome. I
right.
didn't. I
Yeah,
need to see a game there. It's beautiful.
I
Just
know. I
the outfield wall
always
just goes into the river. It's
every
awesome.
time I watch the Padres, they're in Pittsburgh. I always see the beautiful bridge and the scenery in the background. Yeah, definitely. Pirates fans, your team may not be the best, but you do have a case for the best stadium. So
Stadium.
yeah, stadium that's what it matters. That's what matters.
I actually
But
ordered a poster to put over here. Like I started like a little Pennsylvania wall. I just love going there. So I got like a PNC outfield poster coming in with
that's
like the
nice. Yeah,
Pittsburgh
no,
skyline.
it's a beautiful view. I definitely want to go there. But yeah, I mean, Benintendi, that was the news of today. I really hadn't heard about that until you had informed me. But yeah, Benintendi, I guess the Red Sox are looking to trade him. And what do you think? What are some suitors for who needs a lefty outfielder right now?
So the obvious ones I think are the Nationals and Blue Jays. They've come up in a lot of rumors for any trade that gets thrown
Right.
out there.
I keep
It
hearing
might
about the
just
Blue
be
Jays.
Blue Jays need to do something. They haven't really done much yet this offseason, but I think they got something coming. But this would be, in my opinion, a perfect fit for the Nationals. They just got rid of Adam Eaton. Juan Soto's out there and left. Victor Robles, one of the best defenders, probably the best outfield defender in baseball, in center. And then in right, they kind of just made a hole there. I might be wrong about who they had on the bench or something, but from my understanding, they have nothing in right field. I think Benintendi would be a perfect fit there if the Nationals can trade for him without giving up some of the core. They might have to give up like a pitcher or like one of their top prospects, but they don't really have many top prospects. In fact, they have none in the top 100. But if they can acquire Benintendi, they need to try it because he had a terrible 2020, but before that, he was a
He was a
top
great,
prospect in like
yeah.
top prospect when he first came up. Kind of hasn't lived up to the expectations, but some of the numbers are there where it's like, maybe if they can tweak him a little bit, he might get there. The other fit, Blue Jays, they kind of, like we said, they've been thrown around in pretty much every rumor you
Everything,
can
yeah.
have, but he's also a good fit there. Center field, they have Teoscar Hernandez. Right field, Grichuk. Left field, they have Gurriel, but he can kind of move all over
Yeah,
the
he can
place.
play anywhere. Yeah.
Gurriel's going to be an MVP candidate one day. Mark my words. But Blue Jays getting Benintendi would be pretty big power play for them. Red Sox probably won't trade him within division though.
I
And the yeah, what you got?
I really like the Nationals. I didn't really think about that one too much, but especially with them losing Adam Eaton, who's also left-handed hitter, right field. He played right field. I mean, he could come in, and do exactly what Adam Eaton did, and hopefully better. I mean, and who knows? Maybe they bounce back in 2021. I know, obviously they won it all in 2019. They lose, one of the best position players in Anthony Rendon. But I mean, the rotation, they still are sending out Scherzer, Corbin and Strasburg. Their bullpen, they can always address that issue. Any
It's the
team
same
can,
bullpen that they had in the World Series run minus like Sean Doolittle, I
right?
think.
And then,
But
Yeah,
Yeah,
their offense too. I mean, he could come in, he could, hit behind or hit in front of Juan Soto, and he could be great. I mean, I think yeah, I
you
love the
just extra
Nationals.
protection in there. You can't throw him meatballs. Benintendi will rip your meatballs, but
No, yeah.
I think he'll thrive in a new change of scenery. The other team I had was the Giants, so that's a little bit of a surprise team, I guess. The Giants they were terrible in 2019. They were last in the NL West, but
Right.
2020 they made a playoff run. They had one of the best offenses in baseball, led by Mike Yastrzemski. Got fleeced from the Orioles for like nothing.
Yeah, Donovan Solano came out of
Donovan
nowhere.
Solano, Evan Longoria was decent again. They just had a decent offense, and
I think I
they're
think
kind of
Giants will
trying
make
to
a
win.
splash because they certainly, you heard their name in the Bryce Harper conversation before, he went to the Phillies obviously.
Very
And
little, but
right,
yes,
but
he
there was
was
still something there, and it made sense then because they weren't, their window had not, they weren't there yet. They didn't need that. But who knows? Now, they might be in that position. They certainly have some financial flexibility. And yeah, like you said last year, they had a great 2020, despite they I think they just missed the playoffs. And I mean, they were in
last day of
a
the year.
yeah, they were in a loaded division. You could make the case that Dodgers are the number one team in the league. You could say the Padres are the second best. I mean, that's certainly up there. I wouldn't say so, but I mean, you could say that they're in the best division right now, the NL West, with just the Padres and Giants, or no, Padres and
Just a
Dodgers. Yeah,
juggernaut
good
at the
luck,
top.
good luck. But I mean, still, despite that, they definitely overcame expectations. So yeah, Giants
I
definitely
think they
suitors for
should
Benintendi.
trade everything away and sell, but they're not. They re-signed Gosman. Actually, he accepted the qualifying offer. Is like they're paying Kevin Gosman like $20 million almost. They re-signed Drew Smiley, or they did sign Drew Smiley. So it's like they're kind of trying to
But
win.
they did let Bumgarner go, and I mean that was kind of, but I mean that was great because I don't think Bumgarner had exactly the best year in
He's been
Arizona.
kind of falling off since their World Series runs, but
Right.
last year it kind of came to a head, and he
Yeah.
just didn't do very good. Hopefully, he bounces back. I like Bumgarner. He's kind of flown under the radar last couple of years. But yeah, those are the three teams I think Benintendi fits in. Giants right field. I mean, he can make some splashes. Add that to the splash count out there
Mm. Oh yeah,
into the
definitely.
river or the ocean. Bryant rumors. Those started yesterday. Well,
No,
one
they've been
nine.
going on for a while, but yeah, they've gotten
They've
definitely gotten
officially
more. Yeah,
advanced a little
after the
bit.
Lindor trade, that kind of set everything in motion, I feel like. And yeah, I mean, yeah, where do you think Brian's gonna end up?
So I wrote down three teams here. I don't know about two of them. I think they're all like really theoretical. They would just be good fits. I don't know how the financials work out for all three teams, but Braves at third base, Chris Bryant. Austin Riley's there right now. He's hit or miss, really. Chris
Right.
Bryant would definitely provide an upgrade there. I think they have the money to do it. They also have the prospects to do it. So I think that'd be an okay fit in the middle of that order, and maybe fill the void that Ozuna leaves if they don't re-sign him. I had the Dodgers as another potential
I
option.
was I was thinking about that. I was like, the Dodgers, they're gonna have to pay. They
If they don't
might.
re-sign Turner, they
Yeah.
should definitely go get Chris Bryant. If they don't re-sign Turner,
The Dodgers, though, I just don't see them doing that just because they're gonna have to make a tough decision about Cedar soon, and then not to mention they've already committed so much to Betts, and then sooner or later they're gonna have to pay Bellinger, and then even sooner or even later then they're gonna have to pay Bueller and then all their other young guys. So I don't think Bryant would be the best long-term commitment for them, and their GM, Andrew Friedman. I think I don't want to say he's too smart to give Bryant the money he wants, but I think Bryant is gonna go to a team like someone
he's going
I
to a contender, no doubt.
no, he's going yeah, he's gonna go to a good team, but yeah. I don't know. I thought about the Dodgers too, just because yeah, they do have a hole now with Turner,
And
being a
because
free agent.
Bryant's a rental, they only get him for 2021. They can kind of eat the salary a little bit,
Right, right. But I
especially if they don't re-sign Turner.
that is true. That is true. They don't have to extend him long term. I'm just assuming, wherever he goes, they'd want him for the future. But that is true. They could just keep him around. And yeah, who knows with the Dodgers? One day I wake up and I hear that they're in the talks with the Rockies for Nolan Arenado, and I'm like, what? There's
That
no.
scared me so much. I was like, dude, I'm not even gonna watch
I
baseball
just
this year.
laughed. Like
What's the point?
when I heard about them getting Mookie Betts, I just laughed. I was like, this team they had lost to whoever won the World Series. The past 3 years. You could have said they were like still a better team, and then they come out and add Mookie Betts. Like you throw Nolan Arenado on top of that, like forget it. Just forget it. Like yeah, but I mean yeah,
So
Bryant.
with Chris Bryant, we talked about this a little bit before the recording started, but people kind of forgot about him after the World Series run and everything. Like, still a good player, still a solid third baseman, but I think people kind of took him out of the top five.
He didn't meet the expectations that people had set for him because they were so high, I feel like. But
But I mean, yeah, he's had a couple injuries. 2018, he only played 102 games, but in his recent seasons, all of his OPS pluses are over 120, which is pretty elite,
what you
especially as a
want.
third baseman. That's what you want. OPS is hovering around the nines. His career average is 889. Strikes out a lot, but he gets on base a good amount. Slugging percentage is there. I mean, besides 2020, all of his years have been definitely all-star level, if not worthy of MVP voting.
Right.
And he could be a huge boost to an offense, which is why I think the Mets would be a decent trade.
The
They
Mets.
they if they traded one of their top three prospects, that's kind of their crown jewels. Steve Cohen did say it's a good thing to have a like what did he say? What was his exact quote? You said
He
it to
said
me.
something along the lines of, credit the Padres for having a top five farm system that allows them to, make trades for guys like Snell. The Mets, we need to rebuild our farm system. So he kind of acknowledged that they need to rebuild their farm system, but then at the same time, the next week he went out and traded for Lindor. But I mean, again, he didn't give up much. They didn't give up they gave up two shortstops, but they didn't give up the best one in their farm system. So
Right.
he still might have that. But yeah, I think the Mets would be a great fit for him too. Yeah.
I think out of these three though, I have the Mets at third likely to get him because it's a 1 year rental. They don't want to give up any of their big prospects for what could be potentially an injury season. Who knows?
Hmm.
And that'd just be a very dumb move on their part. And then they're out of prospect and say they don't win the World Series, they gave up a prospect for essentially nothing.
That is hard. That is a hard, hard bargain. I guess tough bargain. But I mean, yeah, the Mets. Who knows with them? Who knows? They might sign Springer. They might do nothing. They might say we're done. They got their catcher. They got McCann for 4 years, 40 million, and then they got their guy Lindor, who everyone thinks they're gonna extend. So who knows? They might be done. But yeah, if they're not, yeah, Bryant and Lindor on your left side of the infield, that will put a smile on a lot of Mets fans' faces for sure.
Well, their current third baseman's JD Davis, who he's been above average on offense. I don't know how his
Right.
defense is, but I mean, Bryant's certainly an upgrade over there. Uh, I don't know. Mets. I saw a bad take the other day. Someone said that the Yankees are currently the first thought of team when you think of New York baseball, right?
Right.
Someone said, "How many World Series do you think it'll take in the next like decade for the Mets to be thought of first?" And it's like that's not going to happen. There's there's no chance. Steve Cohen can't
Right.
do that much. Tough take, but
They don't have
got
to
anything
win.
else
They don't
on?
have to win 27 to like if they win like if they establish some form of dynasty. This is kind of off topic, but yeah, if they establish some form of dynasty or maybe they win two of three. Who knows? They might get talked about of that a lot. But when we get to that, we'll talk about it then. But yeah,
I would
it's gonna
love to
be.
see all the Yankees fans just turn into Mets fans because they're mostly bandwagoners. They're not all
I just
bandwagoners,
love
but
like because none of the stuff on Instagram bothers me. Like I always read the comments and stuff, but like especially after the Padres made all those trades, for Darvish and Snell, all the Dodgers fans were like, oh yeah, you're not going to beat us, you're not going to beat us, and they might be right. The Dodgers are still a really great team, but the same thing happened when the Mets got Lindor. All the Yankees and Mets fans were going at it in the comment sections. They were like, oh, we're the team in New York to beat now. Like, oh, DeGrom's better than Cole, or they're like, oh no, Cole's better. And then they're like, oh, come talk to me when you have 27 rings. I'm like, bro, this is great. Like, you love to see it, like
I
it's just
looked it up. In the last, I think, 40 years, maybe it's 30 years, the Yankees have won like 5 championships. Whatever number it ended up being, it was like
Right.
19% of their actual 27 rings.
So
And
yeah,
it's
their
like,
rivals, the Red
what are you
Sox,
guys
they
talking about? There's yeah, the Red Sox have won way more rings than you.
but
Just
I mean, yeah.
Yankees
We
piss me
talked
off
about
so
this a little
much.
bit too. Me and Josh were not big fans of how the Yankees have been going about, recently with their like I know Cole, you could say, they gave a pitcher a 9-year contract with over 300 million, and that's, you could say he could get injured at any point, but you could say that about anyone, but especially pitchers, because they're more injury prone. But yeah, we're just unhappy with how right-handed dominant their lineup is, and some other concerns we've had. But
And
yeah,
so
we
are they.
won't get too much into that, I guess. But
Ah, man, I'm so anti big budget team. I mean, the Orioles are the second least
for me
uh
though,
wealthy team.
I kind of like that about baseball though. It's kind of a different element, and because it does matter a lot, like, but then you'll still have teams like the Rays last year who beat the Yankees, and their payroll, was what, like 40 million maybe, while the Yankees was like 200 or something like that. So
It's insane, yeah.
it adds a different element, and I kind of like it because you have, like, these teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees, and they're these big clubs, and you're like, oh, the Yankees are in town or the Dodgers are in town, and they're always going to have, premium players. And I think it's kind of cool. It just adds a different element that other sports don't have, because yes, there are rich and poor teams in other sports, but it's nothing like baseball when you have teams, like I just said, spending 5 times what other teams spend. It's just, I mean, but it's cool though. It's cool. Like, then you have, like teams like the Padres, who they were at a point where they weren't spending money, and then you could say, because the Chargers left San Diego, that gave them more revenue and more, money to spend. But I mean, it is cool, when teams like that, they do turn things around, and then they give players money. But yeah, that's just my little rant. I think it's cool because it just adds another element to the game. But yeah.
I obviously follow baseball a lot closer than like NFL and NBA and stuff, but I think in the world of baseball, like you said, it creates just so many more factors and elements, and like
Right.
each team is in such a different place compared to other teams. And in basketball, it's like, oh well, we don't have any superstars. Let's just tank for the draft pick, I guess. And
Right.
that's like half the league. NFL is, let's just sign as many people as we can and hope we like get something out of them that they're supposed to do. Baseball, it's much more meticulous, I guess I can say.
Right. Yeah, it
Everything's
is
just so
cool.
numbers driven.
I do
Love that about it.
yeah. But yeah, you want to talk about I guess let's talk about the Mets some more. So I'll ask you this: are they better than the Braves? People have saying, I'm gonna talk a little bit before I let you answer that, but people have been saying that, like, oh yeah, they're World Series contenders, and if they sign Springer or Real Muto or anyone else, they're definitely contenders. They might be, they might beat the Dodgers in the NLDS or whatever. But I mean, my thing is, like, the Braves, they just added Charlie Morton. They're getting Mike Soroka back after he just missed the season. And, we already, they didn't they go to 7 games with the Dodgers in 2020?
They had a 3-1 lead.
Right. Yeah, they did. They did have a 3-1 lead. Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Unbelievable.
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 But I mean, that happens. But yeah, so my question to you is, yeah, what do you think about the Mets? Are they even the best team in their division?
Personal opinion, yes. I think so. I think they've added enough, and as long as they don't do like a full Mets thing where like you remember when Cespedes went missing last year, like
That was
just shit
bad.
like that happening
Yeah.
all the time. If they can avoid that bug, I think they are the best team in the AL East. You're right, the Braves do get half the rotation back this year. Ian Anderson gets another year under his belt. He was really good in 2020 as a rookie.
Right.
It's kind of a shame Cole Hamels didn't get to pitch for them, but I do think the Mets are the best team in the NL East.
I would have to agree with you. I think that I mean, not that, like,
This Lindor trade and Carrasco being thrown on top just puts them over the
oh
top for
yeah,
me.
and then, not to mention, I think DeGrom is the best pitcher anyways, and so you have DeGrom, even with Syndergaard being out. Stroman, who knows what you're gonna get from him, but I think, they could get some good stuff out of him. And I mean, Honestly, if Edwin Diaz, if he bounces back, Seth Lugo, out of the
Ed
rotation,
lose.
yeah, he might be good. And then their lineup just got so much better. You have I don't know who's gonna hit first. You might have Alonso
I
hitting
mean Nimmo.
before, yeah, and then
Nimmo's super underrated.
Nimmo,
Michael
McNeil,
Conforto.
Lindor, Alonso. Their lineup could look something like that. First four guys, and that's scary. That's scary.
The way that their lineup works is awesome. I love it. You got Nimmo and Conforto who are like good balances of like gap to gap power, and
And
they have that
contact,
homer power, but they
right?
don't strike out too much. Then Alonso who just hits for the fences every single time, strikes out a ton. And then you have guys like Jeff McNeil
Who are
who
just pure
are just singles
contact.
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah. 70 grade hit tools and stuff like that. Love that for the Mets. I just hope their rotation can stay healthy.
right. And who
That's going to be the
knows?
key for
Who
them.
knows? They might add Bauer too. I mean, from what I heard though,
I think they're gonna get one of those big names like that.
I
One
think so
more.
too. I don't know who they're gonna go for, whether it's Bauer or Springer, but I don't know. Bauer, from what I've heard, is being like he wants to make like 40 million a year, something like that. He just wants a
Not
1 year deal
happening.
for 40 million. I've heard stuff like that. He wants to make more than Garrett Cole for 1 year. I don't know if he's betting on himself. He thinks he's gonna get a big deal, but I've heard some weird things about Trevor Bauer and his
He's
contract
kind of
status.
changed his tone since COVID. He's like he used to think that 1 year deals you make the most money. Doesn't matter team loyalty. That's out the window. 40
Hmm.
million a year is what he was looking for. He's simply just not worth 40 million a year. And how sick are you of seeing like his agent and him on Twitter every single day, 3 tweets a day about like, seems interesting that the Padres traded for Darvish. Maybe they could use another arm, right? Or just shit like that. I hate it. It's everyone's over it. I'm just done with that. I
He
just
is
hope he
kind
just goes somewhere
It is
soon.
interesting how he's going about things, with his YouTube channel too. I saw one time he was FaceTiming like a Padres fan, then he FaceTimed an Angels fan. He's like, "Yeah, you have 5 minutes. Give me some reasons why I should come to your team." And he does have a unique personality. I also saw this other video about how he finally started using foreign substances, like pine tar to aid his pitching, and that's
Because
why he
everyone
had
else
the
is doing
break.
it.
Yeah, because everyone else was doing it, and he was against it. And then I guess he got to the point now. He's like, if you can't beat him, join him. And he won Cy Young. He had like a 1.89 ERA, something like that, given it was
Yeah,
60 games. But yeah, that's also part of the reason why I think he wants this 1 year deal, is so he can go out, maybe pitch a whole season and then get an actual long-term deal. But I mean, who knows? He's an interesting dude. But yeah, the Mets, they could definitely. I mean, every team could use Trevor Bauer, really. Maybe maybe not the
Blue
Dodgers, but
Jays.
yeah, every team, yeah, not gonna hurt if you add a guy like Trevor Bauer. But
Blue Jays and Angels need to do everything they can to outbid the Mets for Bauer, especially the Angels. Blue Jays are they get the pass because Bichette and Guerrero and Biggio and Gurriel, they're all like sub 25 years old. They got Hyunjin Ryu last offseason, but if they can add another elite arm like that, the Blue Jays are here.
yeah, no, the Blue Jays, I think they're really one. I think out of all the teams that need Bauer, I would say Blue Jays the most, because I really think they're that one, elite pitcher away from being who knows, they could win the the AL East next year. I mean, the
The
Red
way the
Sox are
Yankees
probably
are
going to be
going, or
out of
they
it.
don't have. So the Yankees lost Paxton, Tanaka to free agency.
Assuming,
Montgomery
right?
was.
Yeah.
They currently haven't resigned. That they're
Yeah.
currently gone. They might not even have money for him because COVID. The owners of the Yankees make all their money off of just the Yankees.
Mm,
So when the Yankees don't get money like they did in 2020, they don't have any money.
right.
Like every other team pretty much has their owners are they have their feet dipped in something else like oil industry or whatever. But that kind of
That being said,
screwed the
though, they're still
Yankees
gonna
over
have
for this year.
they're still the Yankees. Like they're
They're
still
still the
the
Yankees.
yeah, and they still have obviously Cole locked up, and what's that guy's name? Davy Garcia. He could be he's a
I like
premium.
David Garcia a
Yeah,
lot.
he's exactly what you want. He's a young potential
He's such a
ace.
Yankee. Such a Yankee.
Yeah, I really didn't like that. What was that? Game two, when they They had him
Oh,
pitch an inning.
Happ and Garcia, the opener.
Yeah, they had Garcia as the opener, and then a Hap came in like in the second inning. But you knew like it wasn't because of Garcia, like because he did bad. It was just because Hap was already warming up, and that was their game plan. And I was like, come on, like you guys should have at least seen what Garcia was capable of. But yeah, I mean,
Like the point of the opener is to make your rotation look better than it actually is, but I don't think Hap is good enough to even do that job right. Like Hap used to be a pretty reliable pitcher, but he's kind of older now. And
right.
when you just burn Garcia after throwing an inning just to get that lefty righty advantage, Hap isn't good enough to just command lefties like that.
Right. And like my thing too was like what was the whole point with that? Like cuz like are you going to try to trick the Rays? Cuz like I feel like a lot of
And you're
people.
playing the Rays who have a whole bench full of
Right,
guys
and
of the opposite hand.
The Rays were the guys who invented that, not because they needed, or not because they were trying to be smart, but because they literally didn't have a pitcher, so they came up with the whole opener thing. The Yankees had plenty of guys they could have thrown out there. Not to mention too, if you do flip your lineup, you start with a right-handed hitter and then you switch to a lefty, then they're gonna bring in all their right-handed hitters, but your two best relievers are Britton and Chapman, who are lefties, so you're essentially hurting yourself in the later innings. So you have now your lefty relievers are gonna have to face all the right-handed hitters. So yeah, yeah, I know we keep going on tangents, but that game two move, yeah, I did
I
not
think it works
didn't like
on
it.
most other teams, but the fact that the Rays designed their bench in
Right.
order for those matchups and
Yeah.
they fumbled it.
It was yeah.
Got any other trade rumors, trade mill topics? I don't think we have anything else on that.
Uh I mean, let's talk about the Padres, let's talk about my team. I wrote some stuff down. I mean, we
Hey
talked
man,
about.
the Orioles signed Yolmer Sanchez a few months ago.
Hey
We're
man,
kind of
yeah, Adley
excited.
Rutschman, you know.
He'll be up in 2021.
Yeah, they'll.
Just watch. Ryan Mountcastle, rookie of the year, guaranteed. I'm calling it right now.
But
His
yeah, I
rookie
mean,
card, I'm stocking up on it. Speaking of baseball cards, Neil, what are we doing? What's this podcast designed to do?
oh yeah, we're gonna be doing
We're
some
splitting it.
breaks. We're
Yeah,
gonna
so we got some break action going on. That this will be posted on both channels, Compass Card Supply and Landmark Baseball. I have a break coming up this week actually. The bids are live on the auctions are live on eBay right now. It's for Panini Prism draft picks. You can't really see it too good. But we'll see how the breaks go. Neil's gonna do his breaks from his house too, and
yes,
we'll see how the card breaking stuff goes. We're trying to get into it a little bit, learn a little more about it. But
especially me, because I'm like, especially when yeah for baseball cards, I'm new into this. But yeah, Josh knows a lot, so he will help me out for sure. But
I'm
yeah,
into it, I guess. All right, so I had one more topic here to talk about, and it's definitely a bit more minor news compared to these other things we're talking about. But the Fresno Grizzlies were asked to be a single A team or be kicked from minor league baseball. The Fresno Grizzlies have been the AAA affiliate of the Giants for a long time. They were with the Giants from 1998 to 2014. They switched to the Astros for 3 years. The Nationals had them in 19 and 20, and now they're the Rockies single A affiliate. But basically, the Grizzlies are kind of like a staple of Fresno. Like they've just been around for long enough to where they're unique, I guess. They're well known,
hmm
and I just think that we've seen this restructuring of the minor leagues, and it's really sad what's going on in like these small towns like this that rely on that minor league team for a lot of revenue. They kicked. Rob Manfred said that he was kicking like both levels of A ball and just leaving one. So now it's just rookie ball, single A, double A, triple A, which I think it knocked like 60 teams or something like that. So that's 60 towns that just lose their like one of their crown jewels in some cases. Fresno's case, they do get to stay with the MILB through 2030, but it's just another sad chapter of this restructuring where MLB is just basically strong arming teams to do whatever they want, and it's affecting towns, it's affecting these cities, and I mean some cities pour like millions of dollars into funding their stadium, or they raise taxes in order to fund the property rights and stuff, and it's just these teams are kind of just drifting through it. Like, we might not be around next year. Like, what are we gonna do if we get folded? I don't know. It's just really sad to me. I like minor league baseball a lot. Do you have any minor league teams around you?
The Padres Double A affiliate is pretty close, I want to say. It might be let's see. I'm gonna do a quick Google search. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the Padres
Is it
Padres
El
double.
Paso?
I think their Triple A is El Paso, which is in New Mexico, which is not
Oh, right.
which is not
They're
near me.
double A.
But
Man,
yeah,
I played
they're
for the Padres on like franchise mode. I should know their double A team.
their Double A is the okay. No, it's their Single A. Their Single A is Lake Elsinore Storm, and yeah, that's pretty close to, where I live. Me and my dad, we were actually talking about going and seeing Mackenzie Gore while he was in a Single A, but we
That's the
never.
autograph you should get right
But I
there.
don't. I think we missed our chance now, and
So he's
I
gonna
think he's
start in probably double A.
yeah, and or maybe even higher. But yeah, and especially with with COVID and there wasn't even a minor league. No minor leagues last year. But yeah, they do have the Single A affiliate, which is cool. But But yeah, I mean, even who knows? I might have to go to some more because now that the Padres are actually good, like their tickets are not going to be cheap anymore. That's why
No,
I was able to go to so many games in the past, just because.
that's why it's great. I mean, I can go to a Toledo Mud Hens game for $12. It's a 40-minute drive. $12. I can sit right by the dugout. I have a whole shoebox over here of baseballs that were thrown to me as a kid when I was like 10 years old. Every inning when they'd
Are
come
you
back with the ball,
serious?
I'd get a baseball. I
Oh,
have a
that's
Don Kelly
awesome.
autograph. Don Kelly gave me my first baseball. Tigers postseason hero. Love Don Kelly. Got his autograph a few times. Actually, in Toledo, we were talking about Lindor earlier. I was going to pull it out, but I have a Francisco Lindor autograph ball from
Right, you did tell me
Columbus in
about that.
AAA.
That is awesome. That is awesome. That is, hey, who knows? Maybe
He
some Mets
signed that for
fans will
me
be looking
about a
to
month
acquire
before
that.
he got called up.
Perfect timing too. Yeah, I have
Perfect
a
timing.
I have a baseball I got from a game, and I'm just happy like or I'll show it on screen just because it's an official major league ball. Like for me, it's just so cool that just to think like this was actually in a game. They used this, and I mean, obviously it's common. A lot of people get a well, not everyone, but a lot of people might get a ball from a baseball game. But yeah, for me, it's just so cool. Like I'll be watching games and I'll just like hold it in my hand. And I'm like, this is the same ball. Like they did the same one. I don't
Well,
know. It's just a
the
little
ones
cool
on
thing to
TV
me.
are juiced.
Yeah, the ones on TV. Yeah, yeah, that ball I got, before the whole, all the accusations. But yeah, who knows?
I had one more thing on the Fresno thing. I just thought it was interesting. So, in the middle of Michigan, there's a team called the Midland or the Great Lakes Loons. That's the name of the team.
Hmm.
That the population of that city is 45,000. They're a single A affiliate of the Dodgers. And now Fresno is a single A team, just the same level as them. The population of Fresno is 500,000 people. So you
Wow.
have these towns with 45,000 people. It's like the size of the town in my county. It's not, it barely shows up on maps going
Uh,
against some of the biggest cities in California, like Fresno. And I don't know. I just think it's just sad that Fresno's a single A team. You know how sad it is to watch single A baseball.
right. Yeah, I mean, well, Fresno, like compared to some other towns in California, 500,000 is not a lot, I guess.
500K in Michigan is
Yeah,
like
that's a lot. Yeah, but
that's
for
top. That's like
California,
top
you
four.
got you got LA, you got San Francisco, you got San Diego with millions of people.
Yeah, you guys are loaded over
even
there.
if you
But
don't factor in all the counties and stuff, just the city, you're still looking at a lot of people. So
yeah,
yeah, it's tough. But I mean, yeah, it is unfortunate.
it's just sad.
But
I love minor league baseball. It's sad. We're losing a lot of teams. The Orioles lost to Aberdeen Ironbirds, staple of the early development of prospects. Very sad. They tried to turn some of those teams into a MLB draft league that's going to start next year. That's not going to be fun to watch. It's going to be guys that like didn't make the Cape Cod League and they're just going to go there and like maybe vie for like a 10th round draft selection. Not good baseball. Not good. Why would a pitcher go to that league? Why would you sign up to go to 60 games, just pitch with the risk of getting injured just to like maybe get up a couple rounds, maybe not even hardly get much of a draft bonus? I don't know. MLB is just trying so hard to get extra money right now.
I mean, times are tough, I guess, but
That's what they
yeah,
say.
that's what they say. I mean,
What they say.
but all right, I think you
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 got anything else?
yeah, I
I'm all
don't.
out of my notes, so I
You know,
think
we'll save some topics for the next podcast. I mean, can't talk about everything today, but
well, we're gonna try to do this weekly, I think. So hopefully some news breaks. We have
oh
more to talk
yeah,
about. We just
weekly.
covered the last like 3 weeks of news here.
Right, and then if there's breaking news, we'll try to get to it, that day. Hopefully within the hour. Who knows? But
Yeah,
it's
this
hard
one
with
kind of ran long, and
availability.
I'm kind of happy about that. I thought we'd maybe be like 30 minutes, and
I mean,
nah,
hey,
it went fine.
yeah, but all right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.